Okay, so yesterday we started talking about the science of connection and how our bodies are built to connect with each other.
Kesa ngara zui khari korshe lana telam korshe ras pasu teo chedi ngara zu subu hande stubi me ni pasu teo hande chigi me di korshe ras.
And also how our ability to connect with others is what researchers have found gives us the greatest happiness.
Chik di khari lana susu shenda tewa su tuye jura digi ani chik digi juni ngara zula digi ke jura di yo di ani nyamshi ba koran zui nye ras.
And I don't know about you, I'm just curious, but I find it amazing that people, there are people in this world who need science to tell them that connecting with others makes us happy. I'm curious if any of you find that amazing, that that some people need science to tell them that.
Tatanda zamling nal tawa na changma chibo mara mi khashel khari bugu irla na digi di khechumbu res ani soso da shimba nyam do tewa suya di khechumbu chagi res di digi ke la dinde tewa kugu res la jora di khashela khechumbu chagi res di khari juni shigo la na cheri tanda science lan pheju chido di pheju chidu koran suge ani ngulen chigi res di la don keran sula dinde khechumbu thongu des.
So I mean it seems obvious. It seems very
da
obvious.
yimba rolas cheri gi juni de shigawaina.
But I think one thing that this whole field of research on the science of happiness is telling us is it's explaining to us the nuances of happiness, things like happiness, things like compassion, things like gratitude. We know. Do you want to translate?
Ta thanda dina chashawana thanda digi la jora dinal khari khar suyurla na di kola ta chunju changma chudu yoras thanda chik di khari suyur lawana ningje thangna shi pap di khare kajin jejen ro che da chamba da digi changma chudu yoras.
So I think just personally, well, in general, we all know that compassion is very, very important to our happiness. But one of the things that I have found fascinating from science is researchers have discovered why some people have a difficult time being compassionate.
Tanda ningje la di khechumbu imba changme ha go ras ani ta nyamshi ba din zoichi khari ta go lana mi khashi la tanda ningje ke jora dinde khagu cha de ras.
And so with this information about why some people have a hard time being compassionate, then we can do things to help people overcome those things that are keeping them from being kind to others.
Dilo duda phajola pensim da dinde gi ta ningje dinde medu gala khunsu kangi thiyora di gyune ani tanda nyamship chinge cheri ba khoran ji da khandes chini phem ba cheyo che ani khoran gyua ta jora shimbala pensim ke da dinde khandes che turlan di thiwa di chagi ras.
So, okay, so to go back to the science of connection, so yesterday we talked about secure attachment. We also talked about how we connect with each other through voice, through touch.
Tanda ngazo chasim korshe ras kesa chik di khari lana de som da tewe che chik ngazo regbe gyuni tanda phasu tewa che di dinzu samma chugi ras.
Okay. So one of the things that I'd like to do is, because it's the afternoon and it's hot and we're sleepy, I'd like to take you through an exercise that has 3 different parts to it, one of which is very important to how we connect with each other. So I'm going to take you through these 3 different parts, and then I'm going to go back and explain to you what we did, the science behind what we did.
Ta nyungu jab chawa chawo che ni ro tho chig dolas che zan ya chego sum che yins an chego sum di thangbo ngara zu chego din zu chi an che chayo je la ni kiran zul de she ge yins ngazo khari chi me di.
Okay, all right. So everyone stand up.
Ya shaya indas
So first we're just going to get our bodies moving.
thangbo de khari chigu la na ngaran zu subu di gujo tang gu yo res.
So take a deep breath and bring your arms overhead.
U ringbuch the ani lawani den dis kyas
And stretch to one side.
ye chole chi
And stretch to the other side. And open up. Bring your arms
ani
down.
lawani ga patang
Okay, good. And roll your shoulders.
ani kungba di kyos chis
And reverse
Yan
roll them
surang ja.
forward. Good. And bring your head down.
godi ma kum
And bring it to the side.
thala sha ya ye choi na ye
And bring it back.
ya gyabla
And to the side.
ya thala
And forward.
dinla
And reverse to the left.
ya yuen
Or
chola
your right to the
ya
back.
gyabla ya ye chola
And to the front.
ya dinla
And now, if you can, just comfortably roll down and just hang.
강바니 디스 체르 되오다 칼리 마 국스
Just hang there and let your shoulders and your arms
다
relax.
같이 오르는 라바 마 냥기라 르르 냥구고 레스 라바다 디 뿡바다 디 상마 르르 치샤스
And make sure your neck is relaxed.
아니 라바 디 르르 샤라서 대한나시 징바 디 르르 샤구고 레스 다 라바 착고 마샤 르르 치닌다
And take a deep breath and stand up.
야 오링부스 텐 칼리 야 샹스
And once again, bring your arms
야
overhead
라바 디 칼리 고간라스
and bring them down to the side.
야 라바 수부타니 들 샤스
Right. And now you can have a seat in your chair.
나 슈에 레스 아니
Okay. And once more. And take your arms and just twist and look over your shoulder and hold that.
kubja deni ra lagbachi kubja dil jira ani indesin kyoro che subudi don't worry besu
And come back to center
Yeah,
and
tsuranza
twist the
kila
other
shows.
way.
nyele ye cholo kyo ina ta yuen cholo kyoro chis
And come back to center.
thank you la rangja shows
And now take your arms
nya lagba
and
kyans
hold the back of your chair.
ani kubja
And just
gyab la
stretch
kubja
your
yora
chest
kubja di
forward.
jus and kubja di
There you
juni
go.
thango di chu dun la tens
There. Stretching out all the kinks.
kyang gu da subu ganza kyang sa lagba di pha kyang gyab la ra
And then shake out your arms.
then lagba ni ga indes use
Okay, good. All right. Okay. So the first thing we did was exercise. And we know, of course, from research that exercise is very, very good for our bodies. It helps us to de-stress. It improves our moods. It increases our energy. It can also increase our self-confidence.
다 단다 디 당슈 디 카치레 안주 루제체라 루제체도 카치레 수부 탕체교 다 스트레스 심니 딘조여라 딘조 마 명으로 당겨라스 아니 지 커리어 라이나 단다 수수기 단다 댕수다 딘조 상마 파레체 뉴바 딘조 야 케유여라스 수부 루제체니
So the second thing we did was we activated the vagus nerve.
다 제고 니워지 체임바스 디 ngaransu kharilo kuyen chier lawana anju jingbesash jingsash da vegas ner dila ani kuyen chieres
Now, I actually want to come back to the vagus nerve because that requires a longer explanation. So I just want to briefly talk to you about the third thing that we did, which was have you visualize something positive, a happy memory.
다 단다 vegas ongsa laishda 단다 jingsa di kola ani teshe jawana dis manga gurgures chesan di ga jala yois ani chego sumba jua di khariyo lana ngara su semba dun lulu su ani 단다 temba kiwa dun samasamlo na shaya dun chiora su lulu su res
So with the third activity where you were visualizing a happy memory, our brains have neurons that fire together, and they activate memories, thoughts, also our actions.
다 단다 ngazu leben nang khariyo re wangsa dun yora kuran zu pha zu lega chiyora sujam da de digosan khari chiyor lawn 단다 chego sumba digi ti paral ngazu themba da ani samlo ta da ani susugi chego da khari chiyo me di sangma ani kujen chiyor was
And one thing that our brains do is that when we have an experience in our lives, something happens to us, those neurons fire together. And any neurons that fire together, they wire together, meaning that an experience that we have, we remember that experience and it can bring up different kinds of emotions.
다 ngazu mizena la khari chungwa na chungwa doji chungwa na digi kengi ngazu lebe wangsa den zu khachi re kashi khachi re nyam do lega chiyor was di nyam do lega chi do koran su khari chayore leza da wangsa den zu parara tuga chayor was di tuga di chadu gala an temba da den di yor was
And human beings, because of the way that we've evolved, we have what's called a negativity bias in our minds, which means that we're constantly looking for threat in the environment.
threat
Threat, yeah.
다 카시 카르라나 다 녜베 찰라오라 녜찰 다 디아체 니 ngazu기 코리우나 락다 카리 카리 ngangrada 신앙 카리도 디랑 다 디유레스
So it's easy for when these neurons fire together, it's easy for us to get into a negative state of mind. That's our normal state of mind.
딜라이도 다 단다 왕자 망부시 냠도 레가 치기르 파이어 촐라나 쿠젠테 올라오라 딘데 엔두갈라 아니 단다 ngazu ngangda da dinde chini shinang da dinde rang che de na di rig de thuga mangbu chairo di chadu ani dige rig de ani sembanal de digures.
So, but what the neuroscientists have found, though, is that the brain is very plastic. We can change how those neurons fire together.
Ina da wangza cheri bai chi khari ni yor la na thanda lebe wangza din zo khari yor la na nyencha yo ach dila dugola ni quran zo thanda yo dre yo dinde yo ach ni yores.
So one of the ways that we do that to go from a negativity bias to a more positive outlook on life is by bringing up memories in our mind that are very positive and really spending time with them and savoring them, and that's literally rewiring our brain.
Dila duta thanda yembe chadi samlo khadu na dirang sha sha na thuga di shukcher chur dur la ra chezan di lebe di wangza din zo khari yor la na nyencha irang shi jyor la dugola gyo ta yores. Dige rig la khar chi yor la na thanda ngara chui samlo tang la ni thanda su ki be tu ju din zo ten la jora din zo yang tesu tang yores dila dugola dige thanda lebe thuga cha gyo jora dikya nikya don shukcher chur tang yores dila du gyo du yores dige.
So as we focus more on the positive and we rewire our brains, we have less and less of that negativity bias and we have a more positive outlook on life.
Ta dinde thanda thuga di sangwe cha jora dige rig dani yang the de ona thuga du shukcher chur du yoras dila du ani di thuga du shukcher do aina mizel ta dang jora sangcho ni ta di go zu yores mi dige.
So that was the third activity. So going back to the second activity with the vagus nerve.
Ta thanda di chego sumba kor sherwas ta rangja niwa gal dre is thanda vegas wangsalani jingza shta di gan.
So the vagus nerve, vagus means wandering, and that's because it's this large nerve that wanders from our brain all the way down through our organs to our digestive system.
Tela do vegas la thangi dikhala wandering lana kyam dingi la ora ta to dingi tinde jil lagyo res khajin lagyo lan thanda di jingza thangbo go chuk to chimbu shitwas dene ni ani subu chashi mangbu la ma du dwas di sadi chadu res.
So the vagus nerve is a nerve that controls what's called the parasympathetic nervous system.
Ta thanda vegas wangza shidwa digi khari tangje chigyor la ona ngajo thanda wangje mala ke shidu gala nyewe che sor mala jora di ni tangje chinge chadu res.
We have two nervous systems in our body. We have the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system.
Ta thanda ngajo wangje mala ke je shi oina ra di mala yo ni chigyor res chig di khari chagor la na parasympathetic lana nyewe chesor mala di chig the sympathetic chesor mala dinin yo chigures.
When the sympathetic nervous system is activated, that's when we go into what's called fight, flight, or freeze mode. So something happens that scares us, and we either want to fight back, or we want to flee, we want to run away, or we freeze. That's the sympathetic nervous system.
Ta thanda kharir lawana thanda chesor mala shdo dinde indu gala di thanda kujin thewa na khar chir lawana manzu yana jingye thari che na susurang shi ani khashi kharir lana thwe yana kegu ji chima tu ni hla di do kujo tang mo tu dinde chagi res.
The parasympathetic nervous system does exactly the opposite. It acts as a brake, like a car brake, on the sympathetic nervous system, and it calms us down.
Ta thanda nyewe chesor malash da di khari chagor lawana thanda shimba di na shuchumbu shu ya pargyo ras di thanda kangi ro chadyo res chesor mala di kangi ro di la du ngaju lele sue jora di ani nyewe chesor mala gi tangsi chigyo res.
So the vagus nerve is what controls the parasympathetic nervous system.
Ani thanda vegas wangza shdo di gi khari tangsi chigyo lawana nyewe chesor mala ju da lele sungi di tangsi chigi chadyo res.
And the way that it does that is it controls that relationship between breathing and calming us down.
Ta di khari da dewa chagyor lana chi uk tonglin chesh da di da dewa chagyor res inde uk ring bun ten chi du khaji ngazul lulu chagdo as di da dewa chagyor res.
So every time you take a deep breath like we did with the inhale of 3 and the exhale of 6, that is your heart rate actually slows down, and that's the vagus nerve that is doing that.
Ta thanda ngaju chego sumba chi che imbas dina niwo dina khachir lana uksum ugya thendu gala angi thanga sum gya imbas ma tangdu thanga thuk gya oras dinde chidu gala khachigor lawana ngaran chugi thanda niwe cheso mala dila ku yin the an lelo sue jora di yungu res ningi parje jora di ma chagi res.
So, and then there's another term associated with the vagus nerve called vagal tone. And what that is that's the ratio of the heart rate during your inhale and that of your heart rate during the exhale. And I can draw on this what I'm talking about.
The digital Vegas tone la jures di khari korshigir la ona uk tonglin che jura uk ya nanglo lewe kapsu ani ningi pharje khagastu ya chilol tawe kapsu ningi pharje khagastu di tungi yores.
So I don't know if they can see this, but so let's say that they know what heart rate is, yes? What heart rate?
ningi pharje lana shingi yores akiranjo.
Heart rate, yeah, you take your heart rate, how many beats per minute?
Ningi pharje
Okay.
lana kama chigna la ning pharding khagas chigyo me dile ningi pharje la yoros.
So you take your pulse, you can do it here.
Dela pharja ta ra chadi lago chani.
Can you feel your pulse?
Chadi
Yeah.
kiranjo nigi do las lago chandi.
So your heart rate, so what you would do is you would count that, how many times it beats per minute.
Di kiranjo khari chigur lana ningi pharje ta guina kama chigla khagas phargyo me jora mangnyu di ta gures thanga ya gures.
So, and that's your heart rate.
Di kirangi ningi pharje di chagres.
So let's say that you had a heart rate of 60 beats per minute.
Ta chashana ra peshana kirangi ningi pharje di ani kama chigna ningi pharding thukju chigyo ainas ra.
But if you'll notice, when you inhale, your heart rate actually speeds up.
Chi khari launa uk nanglo lembe kap su khachir laina ani ningi pharje di phargyo res.
And then when you breathe out, your heart rate actually slows down.
Ta uk di ma chil tangra di tawe kap su khachir lana ningi pharje di ma chagyo res.
So let's say on the inhale, your heart rate goes up to 80 beats per minute.
Ta pesha chashana ra uk lembe kap su ani ningi pharje di geju imba chashas pharres.
But on your exhale, your heart rate goes down to 40 beats per minute.
Ine ma chila tungra uk di kap su ani ningi pharje di shibju imba chashas.
And then if we take the ratio of that, that is 2 to 1. So that's a ratio. That's a heart rate ratio.
Ta di lembe kap di tang be kap ra pharje di khurani gi ratio lana durse di lagora di ni durse ta ona ni ta chik chagyo ros.
And this is what's called a vagal tone.
Dila ani vagal tone la dilagyo res.
People have different vagal tones depending on lots of different things, on their health, on the health of their nervous system, their emotional lives, that sort of thing.
Ta thanda di thanga jora duran dila vagal tone lagri la ro mi chamala ani di chikpa chagira lan chag mares loga loga chagyo ras khuran zo thuden la na re ani thanda wangze mala da de thuden yora di da ani mizenal khari khari chungi me dila kembe ani ke mangbush tane ani di kheba du ras.
So what researchers have found, though, is that people who have a stronger vagal tone, they're calmer, they're more resilient, and they tend to be more compassionate towards other people.
Ta thanda vagal tone la thanda shuk sto di chedi khagas ki shuk che na digas ki midi lolo yo che an thana shi phajola ningje ke da digiri di ya yor lani ni res.
So this is the power of the vagus nerve, is that it really is something that calms us down, and it also connects us to other people. So people with a better vagal tone tend to be more compassionate, meaning that they're more connected to others as well.
Dila du thanda di chedi ge ra di ni du gala ke khagas ki shuk che na digas ki midi khari re lolo yo che thanda vagus nerve da ke ji shi yo ras wangza da lolo yo che thana shi ani phajola ningje ke din ri cha du gala mi shimba nyam do do ya ga swe tu yo res.
So in addition to voice, in addition to touch, in addition to that relationship between the baby and the mother, this is another way that our bodies are built to actually connect with each other.
Ta thanda chizo gi delam jora dinala chi khari shere ngajongala ameda pugula na re ta jong chingi da pugu parala dewa che an thana shi ke gi dan thuni ra ke gi thoni ngajo dewa sue jora an thana shi rugby guni dewa sue da di sangma ke je shesa ras an thana shi thanda chi khari ke chumbu chagirla wana thanda vegas wangza shda di guni hagu res phajob chizo na dewa khandes chitu yemedi.
And so any questions about the vagus nerve or about the activity that we did?
Ta thanda vegas wangza korla khirang zo thiwa do yo yana ni la chego sum chemba dida dewe ani thiwa din yo yes.
No? Okay.
vegas wangza kor go chu se di angita di go chu sa di pesun sha gyur da thasta dinde roji yuna lo lo yus ha khar chin juge re so you said there are differences between the vagal tone in different persons, right? So what causes that? Is it because of the health or what?
It can be a number of different things. So you could go back to the idea of secure attachment. So a person who is not securely attached might have a lot of anxiety, and that can cause a negative vagal tone or a vagal tone that's not as strong.
Thanda pesun do shawena the ke mangbu urlara pesun chik shawena thanda chasim da dewe ngazu desungi chawaj le jurla sa dinde ri meoina midin zo kharir la su ngangsab da dinde shu chigirlara dinde indu khunzu ki vagal tone la dita du gala ani angi ma cha du res.
Makes sense. Okay. All right. Okay.
Di khandi no kharila uktoy da lela. So you said if there's a strong vagal tone, you said the person is more compassionate. So how is it possible? What does it affect to become a person more compassionate?
How can you become a person that's more compassionate?
By seeing the vagus tone.
Right.
How can you say that? How does it affect?
Well, it's interesting. This research is actually very, very new. And one of the things that researchers have found is that the practice of mindfulness and meditation can actually improve your vagal tone.
The thanda di vagal tone lash da di nyamship saw doj cha de res. An thanda nyamship chingi koran suichi khari ha gorla na gom nyamlen che da thana shi thamba nyasha da dinde gal chidu gala thanda vagal tone di yage ta yores line koran sui nye yores.
And there are a number of reasons why that could be. I'm not a neuroscientist, but one of the possibilities is that in our brain, and then on the inside of the brain, you have, I don't know exactly where it is, it's in here somewhere, but in this area here, you have a part of the brain that's called the amygdala.
Ta thanda lebe di thon ra kin zo pesudi. Di nalo di chashi nalo khari la na amygdala ya khamzik le sho di yorwas.
And how many of you have heard of the amygdala?
Di khamzik le sho ko la khiran zo khazu konyung yes. Khiran nalo konyung yue.
No?
No, they haven't.
No, they haven't. Okay. So
No, konyung. Okay, we have heard about it, but don't remember.
Don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so what the amygdala, part of what the amygdala does is it controls our emotional responses.
Ta thanda khamzik le sho gi chi khari tangjin chigyor la waina ra. Manju semso gi ya yalin che jura dil tangjin chigyor res chashidi.
And for people, and the size of the amygdala, you actually have, the amygdala is actually two parts. It's, you've got one on one side and one on the other side, and it's about the size of an almond.
Also badam rig jua almond la de. Dige chejung digas to jures. An chashi ta wani ni chegres lebe shong ni ra. Na dumche ni yo chega cha de ros.
And researchers have found that people who are very anxious, who have a lot of fear, maybe who have insecure attachment, their amygdala is actually larger than your normal person.
Ta mi khashe khatu na ngang da shinang da inde chiding rig da. Thanda di chasim desung meo de dinde kangi the di rig jora. Dige rig la ta du gala Quran su ile bad thanda khamsi le shush da chashi. Di khunju nal khari thon la na dinde che ni res.
Because I don't know if you noticed, but some people, when something scary happens, it really doesn't affect them at all. Whereas other people, the slightest little thing can happen and they get what we call a triggered response, where they have a tremendous amount of fear coursing through their bodies. And that's the amygdala.
Peshaw naslas ani thanda ken doj thoi matis shinang doj khashi khari la na shinang chi ma chin yemetan ding yora lulu chin dinde yoras khashi khari nan chunju ji chuwai na ge mangda shu chi shinang shu chinge dos di en thanda semjor gi yalen chho chagi yoras di khari da dewa chagi yor la na thanda khamchi le shu da di da dewa chagi yores.
So to go back to your question, the practice of mindfulness, they have found that the practice of mindfulness actually can shrink the size of the amygdala, lessening the fear response.
Chi khari la na thanda khiran thio da dewa chagi dos thanda thamba nyasha di ngoju kom nyamni chigra di kala chio aina khari chigyor la na shukin khari tigur lan thanda khamji le shush da cheje jura ma chung ru du res di la de ani thanda shinang la yalin che din zuma cha du yor wasti.
So that could be the connection between the improved vagal tone and what's
Dila
going
di-
and why. Yeah.
Ta thanda ngazo vagal tone thanda chedi tagyo ra di chedi tadu gala di da ani dewa chagyo ras.
So the other thing, I don't know if anyone's told you this, but the other thing that the mindfulness researchers have found is that mindfulness can increase the activity in the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of our brain where we do our thinking and our decision making.
Ta thanda ngazo thamba nyasha da dinde gom gyawa na chi khari khebe urla na dundab gi dun la chi do chashedi prefrontal ira del khari urla na samlo ta da thanda thaju che da di changma chagyo ras di yagi tangyo ras.
And so one of the things that the researchers have found is that people who have a lot of stress, who have a lot of fear, not only is their amygdala enlarged, but oftentimes they don't have a lot of activity going on in their prefrontal cortex, and they don't have strong connections between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala.
Ani ta mi khashe khadu na shinang da ngang da dinde chi dinge jura digeri indu gala quran sui thanda ta thanda dinal ku yen thig du thigim du ta du gala lebegi dundab jura di dun chodela dela ani chego dindu chede waru ku yen the de tung thong yo mares ni yo mares an thana shi dundab gi dun chosh do prefrontal di da ani thanda khamsi le sho bara thugaru dinde thong yo mares.
Because when somebody has a fearful response, what they need to do is they need to get that prefrontal cortex activated. They need to start thinking to help them calm down the amygdala.
Dira duta lulu sugu na thanda khamsi le sho do di macha gu na chele di an kharchi gu la na dyung gi thanda dundab gi chashi dyung do di ani lega ku yen the gu ros.
So what the researchers have found is that mindfulness meditation actually increases the activity in the prefrontal cortex, and it also increases the connection between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, which helps calm people down.
Dila du gom thanda thamba nyarsa da de gom yegra dide indu gal kharchi la na thanda dun cho jua dundab gi dun cho di prefrontal di ku yen the che an thana shi di da khamchi le sho para dewa jura di chagi yo nye res dini para dewa chana ani mi khachi re lulu chaya jura dinde yungu res. Nangda chinge da di shina chinge ha logo So we see different types of personalities. Some people are very carefree, and some are like for every little thing they keep like having anxiety and feeling nervous. So is it because of the differences in the size of amygdala?
It could be. It could be. You would have to do a brain scan and find out. The thing with the brain is that there's all the different parts are so interconnected with each other. There's a lot going on. So you'd have to do a brain scan to find out exactly why, but it could be because of the amygdala. Yes.
Ta thanda khamsi le sho che dinde kingi res lara di yus yinsi res and di re du re mendu tayla ani kharta gulana leba parlen gya jua par gya di gya brain scan chi gu res.
So, but the researchers have found that there definitely are people who bounce back from difficult situations, and those who have a very hard time letting them go. And that often is because of that connection between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala.
Kashe khari la na thanda ngangda chi de di khali khali me achani lulu chaya de yorwas. Kashe khari la na thanda ma thanda shiga jorat ngangda chi de di tharan de di yorwas. Di khari la jargi la na kunjugi ngol shesa dundab gi chashi dun jua di da khamji le sho bara thugaru la ora dewa di yabu me di kengi chagi res.
All right. Great. Okay. All right. So moving on to the next thing that connects us is oxytocin. So,
Di jela khari li la na ta oxytocin la di li res.
all right. So oxytocin is what's called a neuropeptide.
Neuropeptide.
Neuropeptide, yes, yeah.
Ta thanda di oxytocin la di khar la na ongze gi thanda peptide la na tize rik chagi ra neuropeptide la gi res.
So, and a neuropeptide are molecules that are used by neurons, and I seem to have erased your picture of a neuron, but are used by neurons to communicate with each other, and they influence our activity in very specific ways.
Ta neuropeptide la na khar la na dudul res di ani wangza thabung phenju dewa che jora di para chinge dudul lenju cha de res.
So, and oxytocin, again, is created in a part of the brain called the hypothalamus, which again is in this area as well.
Ta thanda oxytocin ma ludun chingi jura di khari cha dur la na thanda lebu wongma lan hypothalamus lan di ne di wall cha gi rest.
It's in this area as well. And what the hypothalamus does is it controls things like our emotions, our behaviors, our motivations.
Ta thanda lebu wongma di khari tangji chi gur la na ngara chui shi ju da de ge ri din zo ni tangji chi gi rest. Sim sor da di changma.
So when oxytocin is released in our brain, it actually makes us more trusting of other people. It makes us want to reach out and care for others, be more compassionate. It also lowers our stress.
The oxytocin kagas ma lyo in ra subuna di khaji gula na ngazu semye ma chae jora dinde che ani mission da nyewa choya da ni phala ningje ke da phala deo che dinde ya ga res oxytocin ma nga na subuna
And the way that it's
ma
And the way that oxytocin is released is often through mother and child. So through the touch between mother and child, through breastfeeding. It's also released during childbirth. It causes the uterine contractions to start.
ta thanda di subuna ludun che jora di khadu chi gur la na ame de pu para deo ra ama de pu nem do subu regra di gap sani oxytocin ludun chi gur res an thana shi pu ke gap su ra pu ke gap ame nge ni ki ra di ke gap su khaji re nge din zo khaji re kumgyo di kumela ni oxytocin gi phengyo res.
So, but it's not just through mother and child. It can be released through two friends who are very caring towards each other as well. So it's not just mother and child.
Ta thanda nge la pezun khar shara ama de pu para dewa di ani oxytocin lugyor la ra ama de pu chi bu mares thokbo thongmo da phenju dewa ya pu yo aina phasu che so do yo aina khaji re oxytocin lugyor res ya.
So the other thing that oxytocin does is it actually lowers the reaction of the amygdala. So when that amygdala wants to fire off because of something scary that's happened, if you can, if somebody who's in a very fearful state can somehow be comforted by another person, that will release oxytocin in the person's brain and actually help them calm the amygdala down.
Ta pesha wana mi ji nang da shu ke wana shinang ke de na an khaji re shropa do shle ne lulu syo ina sra sim su ro tang chin lulu syo na khaji re khu su bu ne oxytocin ma lu res oxytocin lu du khaji re ni amygdala khamjig le shu dira khali khali ma ma lulu cha du res.
It's interesting in the lab, researchers have actually been able to make oxytocin, and they have people sniff it through their nose.
Ta taje khana khari chyor la na tanda oxytocin nan dudul jora di ani ma syo res syo syo jela dudul den kha chyor la na midin zul naguni ma timanum chu res di.
And the reason they do this is they want to see what is the effect of when somebody sniffs oxytocin. How does it change how they relate to other people?
Ta naguni ya thengra di dudul den di them thendu gala ni midin zula shugin khari ti do midi shijul jo khari du du di taje chyor res.
And what they have found is that it makes people more trusting of others. It makes them more cooperative. So it's kind of what we call the feel-good hormone.
Di la du ta thanda di dudul di syo la ra oxytocin di syo ne naguni ya thendu gala kuran zo midin zul khari shugin ti yor la na shemba le yije ke da an pa tunde yung da dinde ri de ni ya pargi res.
So now I want to just put all of these things together. So looking at our attachment styles, so secure, anxious, avoidant attached, oxytocin, and the brain, and just kind of explain what is happening in our brains, how important these are.
Ta thani ngola nga zo ngoni shesa di kor shesa ras chak su che an thang na shi oxytocin che an ti da leba an pha zu kuran zo deo hande chagyu me da di kor shi ras.
So our attachment style, which is shaped by our early childhood experiences, that relationship between mother and child, actually affects how oxytocin is released in the brain.
Dila du chak zu nal khari ki keje shi yore ama da pu para yora tat so yong chingi da pu para chungdu ni ta di dewa cha de ras. Digi ani jela shugen call tir la na nga zu gi oxytocin le dun chi dang jora di khande chi ge me dila shugen ti res.
So what they've discovered is that people who are securely attached obviously are able to use oxytocin in a much more healthy way.
Dila du da tanda chazu da de shidu de sungi tanda semsor di yongi ri jora pu dinde ri indu gala khuran su gi ta oxytocin lodun chin susul keben yo jora dinde chin ani oxytocin subun lodun chi tu yores.
And people who are anxiously attached actually have a very stronger amygdala response, possibly because the oxytocin doesn't get released in their brain.
Dilo du khashi khari lawana tanda khamjik le shodi kuje mangbu che jora dinde ri indu gala khuran su na la khari lawana tanda oxytocin lodun che jora di taqdar lodun chi ma to dinde yoros.
So this is a brain of a healthy child, and this is the brain of a child who was neglected and abused as a child.
Ta thanda di leba par len sha jo jira di res ani di khandi cha de la na pu chundu ne ta sojong ya bu chi jo ama da de ya bu yo dinde ji res phajo di khar la na ya ma chi ni sha sha jo do pu dinde ri ge leba par len sha jo res.
So you can see that in the brain of a healthy child, these front temporal lobes are fully developed, and this is the area of the brain that really works with our emotions.
Ta thanda nga jo dindab do cha yo ra dina ta wa na khar do dige ri du ku jen the de jo power ma us do ta gya shu di cha yo res di nga jo khari da de cha yo la na semsor di chalong do jo ra di dan de cha yo res.
So this part of the brain helps us to regulate our emotions. So it helps us to calm down, to make healthy choices.
Tanda di lebe chashi dundab le yo ni tuen da gora je jodi. Di khari chawor la na ngajo semso la tangsin chi thwe jora di dan de cha yo res.
So and then in this scan of the child, sorry, I'm joking. I've got the tickle in my throat. Of the child who was neglected and abused, you'll see that this part of the brain that regulates the emotions is not as developed at all.
Tilo da dijo par dina ta wa na khardu chashi dini di khare lebe chashi dini di semso la tangji chi thwe di chashi di cha de ras di an salong ya bu to me thong do as di rig dina di khare pu phamagi ya ma chi ni sha sha yo jora di rig di cha yo res.
So, and unfortunately, children who have this kind of brain, they often suffer from both emotional and cognitive difficulties.
Tilo da tanda dige reach do leba tinde yo wa na khuran su semsor da ani ta tanda khalore rize da de dige ri ani ya sarlon tak da ma chung den ni yo res.
But again, the good news is that our brains are plastic. So even if a child who developed this kind of brain, as an adult, they can heal. It takes a lot of work, but they can heal and they can develop those abilities to regulate their emotions. And one of the ways researchers have found the best way to do that is often through mindfulness practice.
Ta thanda dige rig din du ra ta lebe chashi di yagi ya bu do mara dinde indu khuran su semsor da dinde tangje chi mo thwe adu na kangi the ding ri cha du res ya chir du ta di thanda nyamship chingi din zu chi khari nyer la na di ma ta thanda chu she la ra di khari gyun yungu la na thablam khari ni gur la na thanda thamba nya sha gom nyam din che jo di gyun en gyo ta res.
Okay. So then the last thing I want to show you about the social connection is what happens in the brain where we are actually socially excluded. So when we are not accepted into a group.
Ta thanda chi khari por shi gur la na chi so da nyam do me je su lo su da chi khari group do su ra ru ga nan bet lo su yo che ni yu shi da dinde ri gem ba na ani shu gen khari tv me di ko la nyam ship chi res.
So here we have a picture of two brains. So in this particular one, this shows the pain network. So it shows 3 different parts of the brain that work together when we experience pain.
Ta tanda su da laura di dan dewe jura di khari chagyur launa lebe chashi ta wena mala di sum chagyur res chashi.
So these 3 parts fire together when somebody experiences something like physical pain, maybe grief, maybe if they're being treated unfairly.
Ta tanda dina la khari kar chugyur launa chik tanda chi subugi na su jura di che ani tanda su sembanal kange da dindi rig jura an shimba gi su la tanda thongma de ne da ma lo su ye sha yo dindi rig changma tanda dina chu de res tuga dina.
So in addition to the pain network, we also have in our brains what are called the reward network. And that's these 3 areas that fire together when something good happens. And what it does is it gives us a rush of what's called dopamine, and it gives us that kind of euphoric feeling.
Tilo dita thanda chujo di khari chagor laona thanda thuba roshten do alebe chashidi di khari da dewa chagur lana chaga da the reward lan chaga ro cha shagura dila duta chik chiwa ina susu ki chiu jita rasun samni kaso rosh ki do di ni di dan teo chagura res di jodi maladi.
So, and we'll come back to the reward network later on and talk about it more, because that reward network is very, very important in cultivating people's happiness.
Ta thanda reward le chaga da teo thanda ni sumten do dig en thanda hormone khari lugu la na je thanda dopamine la di lugu res and thanda reward la di thanda chaga da teo thanda thugash do di khechumbu shu chagura res khari de khechumbu chagura la na digi ke jura di dan teo chumbu chagura res di.
So, but the reason I wanted to show you this was really the pain network. Interestingly, what the researchers have found is that when we feel physical pain, like when something hurts us, these three areas of the brain light up. But interestingly, when we are socially excluded, so no physical pain, we've just been excluded from a social situation, the same exact three areas of the brain light up.
Ta thanda dela lebegi ne sumten do disum di thanda ngaju subula na su do da ta megyon ro sho aina na su chodu gala disum di kujen chaire kujen thir la ra lebe chashe thana shi ta ngaju subula megyon ro ke ma sho ain bainas chizo ni lo su pi she do yawachen dinde yawachen pi sha du gala ani lebe thanda par le aina thanda chibo jigyan ne sum chi do di kujen thir res.
So physical pain and social pain are, I don't know what you would say, it's equally, they follow the same track. I don't know how to say that. I don't know. I'm not sure how to explain that. But it's like the
chi
same.
subula thanda kujen theni thanda nasuda dinde imbaina re ni thanda semso thanda chi lo su pyo di khare subu chil ta oina ke nasu yo mara dini ga ta shugen rote oina chibu chiken ro cha de res lamga ro ta oina chikpa cha de do asti.
So I guess it would be the kind of thing where we'd say that physical pain, you would think that physical pain would be something really, really harmful, but social pain is just as painful and harmful.
Dila duta chi subula megyon ro da ta nasu ro chung oina nasu shu chorgu ras di dan di khagas chorgu yo de chibu chiken thanda ngajo chizo gi shugen ti do lo su ye wa chen din sha di di sangma shugen chibu chiken ti yo res ne phajo di ne khagas ki yo na di chibu chiken ne gen chibu chiken ke yo res.
So what I'd like to do now is, so we've covered a lot of different things about social connection. Again, secure attachment, voice, touch. We've talked about oxytocin, the vagus nerve, how the brain works with pain. What I'd like to do now is take you through an activity.
Ta thanda ngaju gi di digi da de mangbu shu she ros chig di thanda chasim nal de sung che ani ke che an thana shi rekcha da an oxytocin da thanda jingza vegas wangza da di sangmo kor she ros ta thanda khari chigu wirla na kiran zo chego chi che res.
So this is an activity that researchers have actually done in the lab to help people feel more connected to others, to do what they call priming secure attachment. So if a person is insecurely attached, you can actually help them feel more securely attached.
Chego di gini khari thanda chego che jura koran chu cheri bai thanda taje khana che res and di khari ha chi khari di che la oina khashe thanda chasim da dewe gi thanda desungi thanda so di yo mare la jura di ani khali yagi tani di so di yo aswe jura di kyo ta yo res lan di chego di gini ha gu res. Khari ya bu na temba nyasha gi khari khari chel le la khari le khande chil lagi yes okay temba nyasha la di khande chil lagi rest le non di ratwa. Okay, so you said the release of oxytocin and feel-good hormone and all this is based on, so you said it can be improved, the release of oxytocin can be improved by practices like mindfulness. So So what do you call something as mindfulness? What do you consider something as, what is mindfulness?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so so in the West, it's been interpreted. I think I don't know. This will be an interesting conversation. So because it's coming from the Buddhist tradition, so mindfulness in the West is it's both a meditation practice and it's a way of life.
Tatanda temba nyarsha la jura an tanda yeda nangchu ni le juro chagyo ras an nupcho na ta na khari re chik gomnyam len che jura di dewa chagyo res chik mize ke da yora di la dewa chagyo res temba nyarsha la di ni galo jare res.
So in the lab, to improve the release of oxytocin, they focused on the mindfulness practices that are more like meditation.
Ta taje khana la nganjo oxytocin lu yore la jura di temba nyarsha kor shi dos di temba nyarsha khari ga shi yor la na gomnyam len che jura di ga shi res.
And there are lots of different forms of meditation that they're using in the lab. So for example, one is just sitting quietly and paying attention to your breath, flowing in and out.
Ta peshana la sra chi khari chi la na khusimbo chin lulu chin de an khari le thunang chi gur la na so so uk jura uk tong len che jur di rangal thunang chin di res.
Another example of mindfulness practice that they used in the lab is being aware of sound out in your environment. And just focusing on that, again, sitting quietly, but focusing on sound in your environment.
The temba nyarsha khandi gom thanda nyamlin che jura taje khana khandi chumi thangbo de she so ugrangal thunang chi res an chi khandi che la na thunang chi sa di khar che la na su gom ja gap su da min khura da din zul thunang chi bu res.
Another practice of mindfulness that I think would be more associated with this is the loving kindness meditation. So feeling love for yourself, for someone who's close, for the world at large.
Chik di chamje da dewe da she jura chamje da dewe thanda temba nyarsha chi res su gi kawnya nyu yo sa di che chi mi di sangmal la di was.
So these are very simple practices that scientists have adopted from Buddhist tradition, but again, I don't know how similar they are to anything that all of you might practice.
The Kiranzu da di temba nyarsha la di da nangchu ni len sha ji chagyo ras di nyamlen che di Kiranzu ta nyamlen di khandes chigyo me sheimes ina ta tseri ba din zu gi thanda din de tab deu do nyamlen che tab deu gu ras din de ri ani pheju chigyo res lagdar chigyo res taji khana.
But what they're trying to do, really, what the mindfulness practitioners are trying to do is just learn how to pay attention in a very kind and non-judgmental way. Because in the West, we're just moving so quickly and people don't pay attention to their lives and how they feel. And what mindfulness is doing is it's helping to ground people in their bodies and start to notice how you feel and what your thoughts are happening. And so
Ta nupcho la dugal tupu shu cha de ras sangma gugyo tang dengi chu dinde roji ras tupu shu yu dinde cha de ras che jan ta tanda temba nyarsha la du ngara zin du gala ta ug ta supu da dinde gal thunang chi la jora attention telan thunang chi la jora digal di chi res nen chi dang dinde chi res.
And one of the ultimate goals is for people to begin to understand the relationship between their thoughts, their emotions, and their behaviors so that they can take a step back from them and look at them and make a better choice.
Tana chi khari gal cher la na susu gi tada samchu khandi me samlo khandi tangyu me an susu shijo khari me di thole ya thunan chi digal da cheshib do chi chawa chagyo ras di gyun en susu subju ta yora shijula dindi gywa ta ya chagyo res. So you have talked about attachment and mindfulness. So are these two related, or is there any connection between these two?
Between secure attachment and mindfulness? Let me think. I have to think about the studies. I would need to look up to see if there are studies that have used mindfulness as a way to help heal people from secure attachment. I know there are researchers who are working on it, but I don't know if there are actual studies that are published. That's something I can look up and find out.
Tanda desung da de chaksim jura dida temba nyarsha bara de yores lan tiwata ra dikola da tanda seu jinge da dinde yor lan seu ji shedum du ta wu yores da digan la nyamship chi yo da nge shingi yos ne khari khari shimju chin didi nyer la jora diko shetu samares tanda.
That makes sense. I'm just curious. I want to ask, because you brought up this question, I want to be curious. Those practices that I mentioned, so paying attention to your breath, the loving kindness meditation, are these similar to practices that you all do?
And that chiwa lasta thanda temba nyarshala du kunzugi ta taji khanal che du zura gom nyamne che di gapsu koran zu kharil thunan chiwer lare uktong len che da ani dada dindigal thunan chiwer la sa ta di nyamlen chidan di khiran su thanda nyamlen chidan da do chagi des dinde ro yor wes temba nyarsha nyamlen chigi ya kizo la dinde ro re ugdila. Yeah, it's similar when you talk about breathing.
About what?
We focus on breathing.
On
yeah,
breathing?
That's similar.
Yes. Okay. Do they do a loving kindness meditation at all? Is that part of their?
Chamze le jura thanda digal ani thunan chinita khiran chugi di gom nyamle chi yorelas yore. Yes, they do.
They do. Okay. And then there's another technique that has not been studied by the researchers, but one that has been suggested as a way to build compassion is, I think it's called Tonglen, where you breathe in compassion for yourself and you breathe out compassion for the other. Is that correct?
Chik di tonglen la ni khiran zu yoro la sen gom nyamle che di dila du uglen du gala thanda chamba di ningje di gome che ya tang du gala pha shimba la ningje di chi yoro. Dinde chi yores. Yes, we do.
You do, okay, yes. So I don't know if you knew this, but all of these practices that have been practiced for centuries by Buddhists are now being studied in the laboratory to see what the effects are on the brain and also on our behavior and our emotions.
Ta thanda lo tongda mangbu ni khiran zu nangchu na chi de jora nyamlen che de zo denzo thanda ngara zu da nubcho cheriba denzo gi pheju chi ni nyamlen chi ni ani thanda taji khanal taji chi yores dinde gi nyamle dinde ji chi na shugen call khandes chi gi me jora di ko taji chi yores.
So I'm just curious, are they aware of that research that's been happening on the brain and mindfulness meditation techniques?
Leba da thamba nyarsha da indigala thanda taji khana taji chi gi wa dinde ko khonyung yus sing gi yus khiran zu shingme. No, they haven't heard.
No, wow. Okay. All right, I may have to bring some of that in. So yeah.
This ko di ko mangru she and the sajal tha.
Okay, I didn't realize.
Khare? Ha. Ha. Khare jelo ngujin chi yes ra. Okay. So what do you call something as attachment? What do you mean by attachment?
By attachment, by secure attachment?
Thanda chaksim desung da develan chikshe sa di lagi chaksim rang lagi kharelas.
Secure attachment or attachment in more of a... I mean, there are different kinds of attachment.
Chaksim la dugala rig mangbu ji she solas khandi lagi yes. Yeah, secure attachment.
Secure attachment. Okay, so secure attachment is that relationship between, let me go back, I can give you the definition that researchers use. There we go. So, there you go. That's the definition from researchers.
Chaksim la jora thanda desung da dewe chaksim la di khandi jil lagi me de la yores. Yamshiba din zui khandi jil munji chigi yodi.
And depending on what that bond is, it can be healthy or it can be unhealthy. Any other questions?
Chase. So we consider attachment is as something to get rid of from ourselves, but you're like as if you need it. So
okay, I know what you're talking about. Yes, I think this is. So like attachment to material things, attachment to the body, attachment to the mind, attachment to that sort of thing. That's a different form of attachment.
The thanda kirangi chasim khari lagi wange ha hudulas. Di ta ngobo da mi da dindela chawa ke jora di lagi was. Di ani chasim loga chayu res di. Minda acha di res. Thanda di she di mares.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So different. I know what she's talking about. Okay.
부군인데. So you talked, you have shown two brain scans of two different child, right, children. So in this part, the child is with the mom, and he gets all the care and love from the mother.
Yes.
He's with the mother, right?
Yes.
So this one neglected by the parents and abuse and all these things.
Yes.
So will there be any impact, or will there be any differences when they grow up as a teenager, or when they grow up as an adult, in their intelligence or in their learning?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The researchers have found that things like poverty, like abuse, can actually affect the brain development of a child. And it's something that we're struggling with in the United States right now, with children who grow up in these environments, because they cognitively do not have the same abilities as children who grow up in safe and healthy homes.
다 단다 디 케버 수르레스 라라 단다 냠시바 딘조 케버 통에레스 카리 통에라나 지 카리 슈긴 튀르라나 위부리죠라 규벤졸 따와나 카시 교우요라 딘데 릭체 안 타나 중드니다 창매기 다 칼로레 되낭 마치어체 단데 가드이나 게 누가 체대줘라 심베기 미겜바기다 냠주 타야라나 딘데 릭 체딩이 릭디 쿠란조 젤라 침부 차두가라 장해데 딘데 강에 체딘데 니레스.
But again, I just really want to emphasize that the brain is plastic, so these children can heal from this situation.
카리쇼 라와나 레벨 라디 간다 투가 된조 카리르 레벨이 탄데 왕자 된조 년차 요르라라 디 년체랑 시 유두갈라 디 쇠 요르라나 쇠 요레스 규어 드여 요르라나 규어 드여 요레스.
So in the United States, many schools are actually starting to practice mindfulness meditation because of the research on how it affects brain development. Because mindfulness can help develop these areas of the brain.
제자 부카시다 중두니 쩌다 데니 마라와나 데니 차요라 디가서 아니 롭드리기 탄다 템바냐샤다 데외 곰냠레인데 치주어나 부구된절 슈겐 티기 요레스. So you said that the child needs mother's love, right? And the child should be with with his mother. So can you say till what age the child should be connected, or child should be with his mother?
That's a good question.
Is there any range?
From what we know from brain development, that 0 to 3 age is critically important for healthy brain development. But I wouldn't say that it stops at 3. But those first 3 years are absolutely crucial for setting the stage for healthy development later on.
The pugui lebe thanda chalong dwe jora di yagyo dwe amadi kechumbu shu chagyo larwas di tat loze lawana losum badu da injimeji kechumbu shu chagyo resine digas nijela ani kechumbu yomare lan di shigi yomares ta cho ro di kharcha dorlana losum ringashta ke nichini di kechumbu shu chagyo res.
Good.
So does it mean that the longer the child spends his time with his mother, will have a better impact on the child's brain development?
That's a really good question. I don't know of any studies that have actually looked at that, but I would say that researchers do know with brain development that the brain continues to develop until we're about 24 years of age. And again, the brain can always change, but that healthy relationship with a caregiver is critical through the entire childhood.
Diladu chungduni chinta chibe tuzujora di chazangla ani thanda amada pugu para jora nyamdu deadi di kechumbu pe chagyo res ineta nyamshib gi chani ta digas podu di kechumbu chagyo la tuje dinde kor shingi meslasra chidangi lebe chalong dwe jora di khagas podu dugor la na kene chinlo nistabshi podu lebe chalong dugyo res thana shjo duyo ani kirazol mo nishe sarwas.
So, yes. Okay. All right. Oh, you got a question?
So you said the mother's love and love to the child is very important. So does it have any impact, or does it affect the intelligence of the child?
Yes, it can. It can. I mean, it's an interesting question because intelligence is a difficult thing to define, but it can affect how a child performs academically in school.
Da kirangi tanda rikze da dewe la jora rikpa la du di ani tishi gya khabu chagyo ro la khandi ji la wu me di ta ine pu di lobjon chiyo ga so lobda na la ta lobjon chi dan jora di la khebar sugyo ro la na dil sugyo ro la tu res.
So yes, oftentimes children who have been abused or neglected, they have a very hard time sitting still. They have a hard time paying attention. They may have so many emotional problems that they can't concentrate.
The Pugashi Chungduni Pame that Zeo Marache, Yamedani Shasha, Yodiri Jura, Kunzu Imbaina, any Shenda Karakoranjibu loss to their doche, any Chaya that didn't Kabu Yoche, and Samson Nalakangi Mambu, didn't you do a rest body. Yaga Yuela Chungduni. On the Rizella de Yaga Dual and Kejishi Marilara. The Rigwell and Lobjon chair de Lobjon chair. So, when can we like improve the academic performance of the school? Performance of the child, like through when the child is at a young age.
Yes, we absolutely can. So, so what schools are doing is many schools in the United States and actually throughout the entire world, they are starting to teach children emotion skills. So they're teaching them what emotions are, and they're teaching them how to regulate their emotions as well. And this helps the children who have been neglected to perform academically. Di yage tang tu ro lan tang tu yo res pu den zol thanda semsur da dewe ta dinde dinde shin la bai na hora zoi an di semsur la tang jin che thwe ya ga da dinde yung yo res di gyo du yo res pu na di kenge ani thanda pu di thanda lob jon da dewe che jora di ge ani yarge du yo res pu di na. They're also teaching the children social skills, because a lot of times these children have a very difficult time creating healthy relationships with others because of the insecure attachment. They don't trust their teachers, they don't trust their peers, and so they're having to directly teach them how to get along with other children.
Tanashida chizo da joy yabu chaya jora dinde kange yo yan puguri yo ros dige rigla yan quran zola thanda yo tangi khali khali chongda rote ni kharche lawana yo ta res. When chungdu ni chasim thanda desungi chasim di so di lemena shenda deole da ijele khaku chayur lara di khali khali an quran zul chongda din tini gyo tang tu yures.
And again, as I mentioned before, many schools are now bringing in mindfulness meditation, which is also helping these children to learn how to regulate emotions, which helps them academically.
Thanda thana shisho na shipu khashila semsur tangzi chimo tu akangi yorwas dige rila thingsan ta lobda lamang che khari lare Temba nyasha nyamne gom nyamne che di lab gyo ros di chiwege ani pugu din zuna la gyo du res kevin su gyo res di. Yes, she had a hand back there. So you said that when a child receives mother or their parents' love, the child is quite of calm and more compassionate to the others. But sometimes even if the child receives love from both the parents, the child is very violent and keeps fighting with other kids.
So why is that? I know that's a good question, and I think that's the question that researchers haven't figured out yet. So in terms of why some children are born a certain way and why others are not.
Ta kirangi thuwa tangyo jora kashi phamegi ta chamjo raw ene ta chimba nyamdo jingde da khatu ne khondu sa ding dide yor la de nyamshi ba den di thuwa di len di nye ma restanda.
No. So yes, yeah.
So her question is, if a child is scolded too often and is being controlled, so does it have any impact, like when the child grows up, he'll be more insecure and fearful and all these things? If a child is left free on whatever he wants to do, he's left free to do that. So does it have any impact on the growth and the development of the child?
Yes, very much so. In fact, there's a whole body of research that looks at 3 different types of parenting. One is exactly what you described, so where the parent is very controlling, very harsh on the child. Another is where the parent is almost neglectful of the child. The child can do whatever they want and they don't get disciplined. Both of those styles of parenting have been found to have a negative effect on the child's development.
The pugu salon the kirangi nedang ni shera chigdi kaju tang khadu na tangjin shin sha sha yo che chigdi betlolo sha sha na ta digzu masyo ro cha yo ras di ta sojong chidang ni cha do di ni ga ge ni kharir la na ne ki yo res pugu dila salon la keben yo mares tan tul ne yon chi yo res.
So, yes. So the best type of parenting that they found is actually the one in the middle, where the parent sets boundaries for the child, healthy boundaries for the child, but when the child misbehaves, the parent talks to the child about why the behavior was not good. So rather than punishing the child, trying to have a conversation with them and helping the child to understand why they shouldn't behave in that way.
Tatanda nedang ni shera chik bet loyang cheren chik bet tangjin chi shegu che yoras dini ga yakbu yo mares dini gi ki jura dini gi ki di ta da di yores khailan pu dil ha ya sha yang khurang gi choba nyamba de chiwa na ani thanda ka jud do de ma ta che pu di nyam de ge je she pa di she ya pu di ko chhe yo su yores de che yo mares lan di ani yakbu che yores.
So, okay. And what time is it? Okay. So let's see here. All right, so for your reflection today, I think we'll do this activity. So again, this is an activity that was done in the lab.
Ta kership da nyam do che yoras di ani che go ji che yores tan ta ji di call che la na ta ji khana chi che yores.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is I'd like to first just take you through a brief visualization, and then after that you'll do some writing based on that.
Then ni rangja mixum ni samlo da jua di rangja che visualization che res and di che sa jela ani khira zuma the indas.
All right, okay. So again, closing your eyes
Mixum ro nas
and sitting in your chair in a relaxed way.
mixum an lolo chin de res.
And what I'd like you to do is think of a time when you felt a strong bond with someone in your life.
Ta khirangi mizena la mishimba nyam do ani to ya bu che jura di kola ani samlo ta ro chis. So mizena chung sa di.
Choose a specific example of an experience you had with this person where you felt especially close and connected to this person.
Di midi nyam do ta khiran de shu chum shu che jura tu zu da di thola samlo ta ro chis. Khadu da khandis chai me jura di kor.
This could be a time you had a meaningful conversation.
Di yon si rolas kirani para keja ya bu de chung yuna de di unit ya bu che.
A time when you gave or received support.
Pa chula ro ba chi gyabyor che jura di guni ya yon si rolas de che di.
Perhaps you experienced a great loss or success together.
Kabre di yon si rolas chik khare tab duja khenia kange do the yon si re kabre yan su so khare lamlon ro ju den de chi tu nyam do khe jura di guni ani kiran thanda kiran da shimba di para do ya bu che den de yon si rolas.
Once you've thought of a specific example, you can open your eyes and just spend a few minutes writing about what happened. In particular, think of ways in which this experience made you feel close and connected to the other person.
Ta thanda kiran gi thanda peju mangbu sha so dinen chik thola samlo ta ani di kiran jo samlo ta se jela ani thanda di samlo ta se jela ani mi di nyam do thanda kiran gi para de di shukche ro do so do esti kor chiro chis.
When you're ready, you can open your eyes and start writing.
Migdan na tigres and migdan sana tieres.